I was reading the comments under my last video and I noticed some people requesting a top 5 list of snipers. And when I checked my channel, I realized that it has been more than 5 months since I made one. So today, that's what we're going to do. Before we start the video, I just want to mention that we're not going to include the SKS and the XPR50 since they are not really snipers but more like DMRs in other games. At number 5, we have a tie between 3 weapons, the MK2, the SPR, and the Kilo Bolt Action. I wanted to find a way to rank these 3 and decide which one is better than the others, but honestly, they all perform really well just in different ways. The SPR is the best option if you want to use a scope on it, since it's the only one that does not reduce your ADS speed with the scope, except for red dots. MK2 and Kilo Bolt on the other hand are better without a scope, just with the iron sight or maybe a red dot if you prefer. You can use the Kilo Bolt with or without the stopping power ammunition. Without it, you'll have an incredible 270 milliseconds of ADS time, and with it, you will have about 300 milliseconds, which is still very fast compared to everything we will mention later. The MK2 has 280 milliseconds of ADS time, which is also very fast. One big downside compared to the other two is that the reloading is like a shotgun, one bullet at a time, instead of just switching the magazine, which of course takes longer if you go from 0 to 5 bullets. But what may make you choose one over another is their hitbox. Here are the gunsmiths we use for all of these 3 weapons. I left one free slot for the MK2 and the Kilo Bolt. Feel free to put a suppressor, a red dot, or a perk. And for the SPR, I also left a free slot. You can put a laser or a scope, or if you do not want any of those, you should put the tactical foregrip A to reduce the flinch. Today's video is sponsored by Arena Breakout, and I want to tell you about this limited game mode that I have been enjoying that you should try. Armor Raid lets you experience the hardest map of the game with a lower gear requirement and overall easier to navigate because of the somewhat weaker bots. But there's still a lot of loot to extract with. Here's one of my best games in this mode. If you want to know if expensive keys in the game are worth it, check the video right here. And to join the action, click my link down in the description and install Arena Breakout. Thank you for sponsoring today's video. The HDR is at number 4 on our list. This sniper is good because of one thing. Just like the ZRG before it got nerfed, or the Arctic 50 stopping power back in 2020. It can kill the enemy with one shot no matter where you hit them. This is true up to 45 meters. After that, you can't kill with one shot in the legs anymore, but 45 meters is enough in the game. You can also kill with one shot through walls as long as you don't hit the legs. The ADS time is pretty slow with 408 milliseconds, but you don't need to fully ADS to shoot straight. Technically, you can shoot after about 300 milliseconds of ADSing, which is fast as long as your target is not farther than 30 meters because your bullet is not fully going straight. It spreads a bit from the center of your crosshair. It has one of the lowest flinches of all the snipers and one of the longest breath hold times, which, I'm sorry to say this, is perfect to camp with. Although you can play somewhat aggressively since you can't kill with one shot everywhere, which will make you comfortable using it. Here's the gunsmith for it. Again, I left an empty slot for you to choose what you prefer. You can put a scope or suppressor, tac suppressor by the way, so you don't reduce the one shot full body range. The Outlaw is one of the hardest snipers to use, and it is at number 3 on our list. It has a crazy 315 milliseconds of ADS time, 900 milliseconds of fire interval, which is very fast for a bolt action sniper. In terms of hitboxes, we can see that it is made for aggressive sniping only, with 15 meters of one shot everywhere except the legs, and 37 meters of one shot everywhere except the legs and the stomach. It will require a very good crosshair placement, and you will have to deal with its ADS animation, which can be quite distracting. If you are already a sniper main, I highly recommend you to practice with this because it'll make you have a better crosshair placement and it will make you learn how to flick faster. The problem with the Outlaw is that it can't kill with one shot through walls, so it's not good for S&D, and that because everything is fast, ADS time, movement speed, it is very hard to use, which is quite the opposite of the HDR. Here's the gunsmith for it. If you want to use a suppressor same as the HDR, use the tac suppressor to not reduce the range, and to equip one, you will have to remove the laser. It will slightly reduce your ADS speed to 340 milliseconds, which is still pretty fast. Don't worry. At number 2, we have a tie between 2 snipers, the Locus and the Koshka. They are both good for one thing, being second best to the DLQ. Before we go into the details, I know that the Locus is the most used sniper in competition in S&D, but this is because of two reasons. First, the Locus Electron has the best sniper scope in the game, followed closely by the Locus Neptune and by the Mythic DLQ. But the Mythic DLQ has an animation that makes it not very good for quick scopes, so it is not really an option. Second, in the pro scene, everyone has comms, which means that if someone is using a sniper, even if they have a suppressor on, their precision will get called out. So in the competitive scene, having a suppressor on a sniper is not necessary. Now that we have said that, let's look at the stats. The Locus has 381 milliseconds of ADS time and can kill with one shot everywhere except the legs infinitely as long as you use the stopping power mag. And you can kill with one shot through walls in the same hitbox as long as you have FMJ on. Flinch is pretty bad, so using toughness is a must if you want to hardscope with it. And everything else is pretty standard. The Koshka is like a compromise between the Outlaw and the DLQ. It has DLQ hitbox, but with a much faster ADS speed. It can kill with one shot through walls everywhere except the legs, but only about 244 meters. And it has the best blank scope among all the snipers thanks to the fast aim laser, which increases the accuracy of your shot earlier than with other snipers. This means that technically, you can shoot after ADSing for only about 250 milliseconds, when for a DLQ or a Locus, you will have to ADS for 300 milliseconds. But like the Outlaw, using it correctly requires a lot of practice, and for S&D, it is not the best choice. To add to that, like the Locus stopping power, you can't put a suppressor without sacrificing essential attachments such as the fast aim laser, armor piercer mag, or fast ADS attachments. Little addition compared to last season, it received a little fire rate buff, which is great if you don't swap to a knife or a secondary between each shot, but if you do, it doesn't really matter, you will not feel the difference at all. Here are the gunsmiths for these two. You can't change anything without making them much worse. And if you want to use the Locus without the stopping power mag, you can, but I would recommend you to try the Outlaw instead. The DLQ has been the best sniper in COD Mobile for 4 years now, and it is at number 1 on our list. It has 369 milliseconds of ADS time if you use the basic build. It can kill with one shot through any material at range as long as you have FMJ on. You can also kill with one shot through 2 wood walls or 1 wood wall and 1 brick or metal wall, which is amazing for S&D lineups. It is the best balance between ADS time, one-shot hitbox, and wallbang efficiency. So, apart from the special situation of competitive play, where suppressor is not needed for snipers, the DLQ is the best choice. Here are the 2 builds for the DLQ.
The one without the laser and with the suppressor
Is the typical S&D build, the one with the laser and without a suppressor is the basic build, and there is a third option. If you want the fastest ADS speed build, but without a suppressor, you can remove the mag and use a suppressor instead. What's your top 3 snipers? Let us know down in the comments below. Using the best snipers isn't enough in today's game because you need to get good in order to be effective with these snipers. Watch this video to learn how to become an elite sniper in COD Mobile. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.